So I apologize to everybody. Instagram be on that bullshit. As we was talking about hip hop, I hope some of y'all come back. I apologize, and we'll have a little decent conversation tonight. As I was talking about the Grammys, you know, Sugar Hill Gang should have been there, you know. Without them having that first record, you know, where would it have been? But, you know, some people said you can't satisfy everybody. Okay, we understand that, but still, they had the first record. And you're never going to get this chance again in hip-hop. We're going to have a discussion tonight. Let me see if I can get them in here. Third base. We're going to chop it up. We're going to talk about some hip-hop. Hip-hop. Pete Nice.
What up? What up, RC?
Oh, what RC? Now he going to call me RC.
Come on, RC.
All right, Peter Nash.
Come on, Ralph Blanshaw.
Government. What's going on, baby? What's going on?
Just chilling in the Bronx, your old hometown.
Right. We can't get the location.
I'm going to go over to the Moore houses after this.
Yeah, go over there and see. We need to put an AJ monument up there.
Yeah, the AJ nameplate.
So you had an interesting meeting today. You want to talk about it?
Right. Well, I mean, since I had that meeting over here, Universal Hip Hop Museum with Dapper Dan, you discovered some Dapper Dan joint of your own, right?
Yeah, my Dapper Dan jacket that he made for me in '93. No, it was sold in '93.
Yeah, no, that was '99. I think it says on the thing it was from '83, but that jacket's from probably like '88.
It's when I had the song "The Bass Pipe."
Okay, so that's '86, right?
Yeah.
With Islam, yeah.
For me. He made a red and white one for me, but it looked like a Santa Claus outfit, man. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, that jacket looks like '86, right?
Yeah. He made that for me.
I had seen Dan earlier last year, and we were talking about collaborating on a couple of things with the museum.
Mm-hmm.
And we were telling him about TR's ultra jacket, the polo that he had on the cover of Critical Beatdown, because TR told us he still had it. It was probably the only one. I don't think Keith and Said had their jackets. I don't think Mo had his jacket. Everything, like all those Dapper Dan joints just disappeared. So, but TR kept his in his closet in the dry cleaning, plastic, I think for 30 some odd, 87, how many years? And It was in mint condition, and he loaned it to the museum, and you can see it right behind me.
Yeah.
So
you want to show
when Dan saw that, he just bugged out, and he actually saw the Fendi one that me and Paradise had tracked down.
You got your camera on the stand where you can show them some of the stuff behind you?
Well,
that's the Ultra Magnetic jacket inside the Revolution of Hip Hop.
Along with the album cover. And that's the Fendi joint.
That's the Fendi jacket.
With the original Polaroids, Eric B.
So that's Eric B's jacket?
No. The picture's the Polaroids of him. And when Dan did his, the rear wheel on his Jeep. But that's just I'm not sure whose jacket that was. The nameplate on the top above the Fendi was removed. And, but Dan, when he saw it, he knew, because there's a lot of knockoffs out there and other guys who tried to copy his style. But the one thing that he brought up today was that he used a certain type of ink when he would lay out the rolls of leather.
Right.
And then he had his stencil, the ink that he would use, he would always tape over the name and whatever brand it was, like a DJ would black out the record on a 45 or LP, so other people couldn't see what record it was, because he wanted to keep that close to the vest, because this was the best ink that didn't run, and was his signature, part of his style, and that was one of the keys to his success, he said, or being unique. So he went through that history, and then he went through just the whole process on how he doesn't even have any of these jackets from the original days. He was talking about how Busy B was, I think he had his jacket that he did in Strong City with Brucey B,
right.
The B joint that Dan did. And I think that museum in Seattle got it, and then they got yours as well. Yeah. So that's where you discovered yours, right?
Yes. But now, I want a lot of people to understand, this is not My House with VANSILK. We're talking to Pete Nice, the co-curator for the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Paradise. These are the guys, if you've been down to Exterior Street where the Universal Hip Hop Museum is being built, but the Revolution of Hip Hop is across the street. It's a lot of great official artifacts in there. I don't know if Pete want to show the big radio with his phone if he can, or the LL Cool J Troop jacket that's in there. That's the big radio. And where's LL's?
That's the Latin Quarter.
Where's LL's jacket in Public Enemy?
Well, that's a mini Latin Quarter right over here with Sweet Tea's.
Oh, that's Sweet Tea's original graffiti shirt, yes.
Yeah, it's a Shirt Kings.
Who chain is that?
That's Biz's chains and his nameplate. Yeah. And that's from Tara. She loaned that to the museum. She's been great. So just a lot of support from a lot of different people to help make this happen,
Now,
including yourself.
But let's talk about it. A lot of people don't understand the work that goes into this and the stuff that you do on a daily basis. I mean, Rocky and everybody else is doing their work, but as a curator, you're in Paradise. And
right.
There's other people, but you curate a lot of stuff because you know what's real and what's fake, and you really dig into stuff. What is something?
Well, right. Well, I mean, also, like, you've helped us a lot with all your connections. You got the best Rolodex in hip hop history.
Thank you.
You could get Kevy Kev, Busy B, Sha Rock, and Peso on the phone all at one time. No one else can do that. So,
well, you know what?
So listen, you've helped us make a lot of connections and make a lot of reconnections. Like when I reconnected with K Slay, rest in peace.
Yes, I'm going to bring him up. And K Slay, and we could talk about his items because, in all honesty, me and Pete and Jared, K Slay partner, we was there packing his stuff up to secure his legacy.
And that's another thing, like, Jared, when Jared called you and me, and we were able to help with that, and the fact that, he had the awareness that for Slay's legacy, that, a majority of his collection would be donated to the museum is just huge. Like, there hasn't been a donation like that since, the museum has been in existence. Like, the other collection that the museum got was Pete DJ Jones' collection.
Which was records.
So, which no, it wasn't just records. It was like his mixing, his mic mixer, the actual microphones that KC and Prince of Soul, Disco King, all those guys use those mics with Love Bug. His light show apparatus, lots of stuff from Pete. Some of his trophies. So between Pete Jones, K Slay collection, those are kind of like the two foundational collections so far that people have contributed. And also Harry Allen, Media Assassin, made an incredible 50 boxes of his archives that we haven't even fully gone through yet. And he's still got some other stuff as well. So,
and I want people to understand that the museum is not for the Bronx people. It's for a global effect of people in hip hop in general. And it's going to be educational as well, right?
Yep.
And I also want people to understand you can't rewrite history if you don't participate in and put in your history, because I'm quite sure there'll be a data system you know, of groups and who of timelines and flyers, and you know, I know you're a big collector of tapes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know, at some point, you know, the entire history, you know, every record, every mixtape, you know, will at some point be memorialized, like either digitally or,
Yeah,
you know.
mixtapes.
Yep, there you go. That's the mixtapes, right?
Mixtapes.
Those are the ones that you're gonna loan to the museum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me that telex. But hold on a
Right.
second. I want people to understand there are so many flyers out here, original flyers. And if you have any flyers, please contact me or Pete Nice. Trust me, it's very important. If you have any contracts, if you have any photos, if you have posters, if you have business cards from back in the days, please contact us, because everything's going to be important to be archived in the Universal Hip Hop Museum. And it's very protective, you know, if how you loan your stuff, or is it licensed or loan, whatever the situation could be, you know, very important. Right. And pictures from back in the days, because if you sit on it and then 10, 20 years from now, when you're no longer here and your grandkids walking around talking about, oh, well, how come my uncle's not in here? Or how come my so-and-so? Because they didn't participate. Now, it's not.
But, you know, even if people don't participate, we will still, you know, represent them, you know, but it's just easier. It's just easier if, you know, we get some help. And that's, you know, we had a lot of people already that have been helping, and a lot of them thanks to you. And, you know, Dan, you know, Dab said today, he actually came up with an incredible idea. Like, he was saying that he doesn't have any of his original garments, you know, from the 80s. And I think that he said, you know, what you should do is have a throwback party and invite everybody to it to wear their original Dan gear if they still have it, and try to get those people to come out of the woodwork. So that would be like the ultimate old school retro party.
You know, that'll work, because, you know, Peso from the Fearless Four, he got a lot of his.
Yeah, he kept a lot. That was mostly from the 90s, I think, right?
But it's still a throwback.
Right, no, definitely.
And I think,
but you know, like we spoke to Kane. Kane gave away a lot of his Dapper Dan gear to relatives and people, and just got lost over the years. When we were able to go through Biz's collection, you know, Biz had more Dapper Dan stuff than anybody. Not really one piece. I think there might have been like one pair of shorts, like a Gucci print short set. That was it. So that didn't survive. I don't think like any of the PE stuff. Actually, we have the PE jacket that we have, that's the S1W jacket.
Right.
That we thought at one point could have been made by Dan. Like, he confirmed that he did not make that one. But it just shows that there were some other people out there. And he talked about some of his assistants and some of his people he mentored who went on to also follow in his footsteps. So, I mean, he influenced a lot of people style-wise.
Well, I like to say to the people that's on here, thank you for joining in on the short notice. And I'm talking with Pete Nice, and he's the curator. And I want to get something real out in the air, which you have a clear understanding of.
Somebody just asked if I still have my throne. I do not have my throne. If anyone would have had it, it would have been the Vid Kid or Ralph McDaniels, and I think most of my thrones were rentals. The only person who has his throne is Slick Rick, and that throne from the Nitro tour is on display here at the exhibit. The original from '88.
There you go.
Most of my canes got stolen when my house got robbed. I got 1 or 2 canes left, and I need them to walk sometimes.
Now, hold on a second.
VANSILK might have to borrow one of my canes.
Yeah.
With all the walking that he does.
And shout out to Jazzy G, and original DJ Chaos. I still love you, Chaos. But let me. But I want to clear the air with the people. Tell them how big the museum is, because every time they see, oh, the museum just got $5 million from the mayor's office. Could you just tell them that?
Yeah, really. So the scope of the whole project is huge. I mean, the building is actually fully built already, and I mean, I think that took almost $80 million to get to that point. You know, through the construction, the actual developer who was building the whole residential project that's in conjunction with the museum, and you know, there's still, I think, another 50 to 60 million to raise to do the actual interior. And that $5 million, part of that money goes to the architectural firms and the design firms that worked on the Smithsonian African American History Museum. So they're Ralph Applebaum and Associates. So, you know, I think, you know, a good chunk of that money. So there's still a lot of money that has to be raised. So, I mean, you know, in the next, I'd say 12 to 24 months, all that money will get raised. And, you know, New York State has kicked in, the city has kicked in, federal kicked in. Microsoft is one of the partners, so they've contributed. But, I mean, there's still room for a lot of other people to join, you know, the team here.
Jeff Adams, listen, the museum, where Pete is at now is called the Revolution of Hip Hop. It's about 3,200 square feet with exhibits in there. It's located.
Right. So this is like a pop-up, you know, just a temporary exhibit.
What's the address in the studio? 131 Exterior Street?
160 Exterior Street, the Bronx Terminal Market.
Yeah.
You could just go online, uhhm.org.
Right.
And you can reserve your tickets there at a time, because it is, you know, kind of like on an appointment basis.
And DJ Hurricane's going to be there from.
Yeah, Hurricane's going to be here Saturday. Yep.
And go to uhhm.org. That's the Universal Hip Hop Museum.org, but it's short. But I want
and just go back to the size of the museum. So, you know, we only have like 2,500 square feet here in the pop-up, but over across the street, that's 52,000 square feet, which will, at the end, I think, have about 35,000 square feet for exhibits. You know, the rest will be, there's going to be a theater in there, there's going to be a restaurant, then you have offices, you have, you know, other archival type spots to store things. So it's a huge project. And, you know, a big up to Rocky for spearheading it and raising all that money. I always kid Rocky that, you know, when he says that he had the dream for the museum, you know, I have to remind him sometimes that the guy who had the first idea for Hip Hop Museum was you, and that is documented in the New York Daily News and other publications. Yes. And you actually did the museum in Fat Flavor.
And my record store that had memorabilia all over it.
Right. So
until the Pookies and Ray Rays broke in and stole stuff.
Right. And you had that big fire.
Right. But listen,
Word.
I want people to understand, I mean, you know, like, even if you was on some flyers back in the day and you didn't even have a big record, you still made a contribution. You're still part of it. But you have to introduce yourself, and you have to put together your resume and what you did. It don't cost a lot of money to get a web page done today about you and the group if you want recognition, because it don't make no sense sitting on Facebook. Well, you know, back in 1975 I did this. And listen, we don't know, and especially if you didn't have a major record. Either of you just was like, I'm gonna use a great example. He's my man. Cool Cow. He's been in hip hop forever. Never had a big record, but the part is.
Well, I mean, he was also a writer back with Phase and back in the early days.
Right, and the b-boys, the graffiti artists, you know, and everything is important. If you got old Right On magazine, old hip hop fan magazine.
I see someone asking if we're gonna have rappers from Ohio. That's the whole thing. Like this has to represent every state, every country. You know, at some point, you know, you look at all the MCs and DJs, artists from the 2000s. I mean, You know, just getting from the 70s through 2000 is a task. Then you go from 2000 on. I mean, me and Paradise definitely going to have to bring on some younger curators, you know, to mentor them and try to bring them along to cover. You know, you can't cover hip hop unless you're growing up with it. I mean, it's dominated by the youth. Like you can't, I can't know inside and out everything that's happening in 2020s. I mean, you know, that's got to be for the next generation to curate that story. But I mean, we feel it's a part of our mission to make sure that everything from the 70s through, you know, 2000 is done correctly. But we have to represent everything.
And you know, I'm gonna be coming back up there again, and I know Peter's there now, and there's other places that are open, like the Conscious Unconscious. Is that still open that you help with?
Yep, that's the Sasha Jenkins and Sally Berman curated this great photographic exhibit at Fotografiska, the photo museum down in the 20s on Park Avenue. So I helped provide some of the artifacts that kind of like were just a compliment to the photographs. And Paradise, who's the head curator here with me, he actually was one of the photographers featured in the exhibit, along with Joe Conzo, T. Eric Monroe. I mean, everybody under the sun is in that one, you know? There's 50 photographers, so it's 3 floors of the exhibition. Everybody should check it out. And every visitor to that exhibit, $1 goes to the Universal Hip Hop Museum and to our fundraising to help build a museum. So that's great coming from Mass Appeal, because Mass Appeal was the mastermind behind that whole exhibit with Sasha. Peter Bitterbender, the whole crew have been real supportive, and Peter's on the board. And, you know, Nas has been very helpful over the past 2 years in the development. And so, and
so has LL. We can't leave LL.
Right, no, LL has been very, very helpful, as has Fat Joe. You know, Flash has been very supportive. He showed up at every event that we've needed him to come to. And you know, he's been a great supporter.
And I don't want some of the people who are, well, what about, well, Copeland Rock was just at the event that we just had recently. So was Papoose. So was what's the kid from Wu-Tang, the young kid, Shaheem.
Yeah.
So was Easy AD from the Cold Crush Brothers. And
Tony Tone was there too.
Tony Tone. So I want people to understand the Universal Hip Hop Museum is not owned by one person. It's owned by everybody, because people get the misunderstanding thinking that, oh, well, they doing this and they doing that. You know how people think, you know.
Right.
And I also want to touch on why I have you here. When you sit down and you look at what's important and not what's important, you know, how do you separate them items?
How do I separate what?
Items that is really important and not.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know, one, depending on the story, like whether you're telling the story of the early days, you know, you want to include all the different boroughs. Like while we focus on the Bronx and Hurt, you want to also talk about DJ Smokey in the Bronx. You want to talk about the early days of the Plaza Tunnel and DJ John Brown, who most people don't know about. I mean, listen, I wasn't there, so I didn't go to the Plaza Tunnel, but I spoke to Phase 2, who told me everything about it. You speak to, you know, Bosco, who was Wallace D's brother. You speak to the twins, Clark Kent. You know, talk to Melly Mel, who started at Smokey's party. Like, all these guys have so many tremendous stories that most people have no clue about. And
one thing, I didn't even cut to before I lose my thought. Let's clear the air about Kool Herc's party. I just found out not only was Coke LaRock there, but DJ Barron was there. Coke LaRock told Shy Rock that Barron was at that party in '73.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because while everybody focuses on that party as being the start of everything,
You know,
we know that Herc was doing parties before that.
Yeah.
And one of the parties that he did in 1972
with Rock.
No, that it was a party that on the flyer it says the party was thrown by Pop and Baron. So that's why I wanted to show that to Baron to see if that was Baron.
Wow.
So that's something we have to. So these are all these things we uncover, and that was a flyer, an index card that was with Herc. That was in Herc's family, and that was dated 1972, and he provided the music for that event. You know, so you know, there's obviously you look at America with baseball when everyone said, oh, it was born in Cooperstown on this one date that Abner Doubleday, you know, stepped on the field and you know drew out the baseball diamond. You know that shit didn't happen. And the reason why they came up with the story was to sell sporting goods. The guy Albert Spalding for the Spalding ball. That's basically what was behind that whole creation story. So, you know, everybody wants a creation story or they want to set to one date. I mean, look at you. When you did Rap Mania in 1990, you made hip hop 15 years old starting in 1975. Yeah, which most people would say that hip hop maybe really did start more in 75 because that's the real date that, you know, Clark Kent gave Herc the second copy of Apache, right?
Yeah, and the only reason why did I use the year 1975 to 90 because I had a conversation with Herc and I had a conversation with Bam saying I think 75 was more of an accurate year in the 15th anniversary of hip hop. But also remember, you know, in 1 year I did the 10th anniversary of hip hop.
Right. And then you did the 10th anniversary again in 84.
Right. So
but I think that just shows you that there is no date where you could pinpoint that it started and that it was an evolution of everything, like from James Brown, you know, Sly Stone, Dennis Coffey, all these artists that came before, all the last poets, like all these influences, the DJs on WWRL, all the quote unquote disco DJs like Flowers and Maboya, Plummer, the Brooklyn guys, all the Queens cats from Infinity Machine, New Sounds, King Charles, Cypher Sounds, all that. So yeah, and you had all these things going on in different regions where, you know, people from the Queens wouldn't go to the Bronx and they can't tell what's going on in the Bronx unless you were there.
Exactly. Now,
and then, you know, look at someone like Mean Gene, who's like just as much of a pioneer as, you know, even Herc and Smokey. You know, he was at Smokey parties early. You know, where would Flash be if it wasn't for Mean Gene early on?
Exactly. There's a project that you worked on. Are you allowed to talk about it now?
No, I'm not. I can't.
Well,
I got in trouble. I got in trouble today for talking about it very briefly somewhere.
Okay. We'll leave that on.
So we have some side projects that we're working on, and me and Paradise also might be doing some exhibitions downtown at like another gallery space to kind of help. It's with our boys from Dead Prez who have this space downtown.
Right.
And maybe to cover some of the people that aren't being covered in all these other 50th anniversary celebrations and some of the lesser known cats out there. So we'll keep you posted on that when we can reveal some information on that as well.
Somebody said, is it music? And I'm trying to figure out what are they talking about? Is it music? And I don't know how much time we have on here until they cut us off.
Irv is in the house.
Irvin Patin, photographer, Irv. Mr. Irv.
Can we have Irv come on and do a VANSILK impression?
Irv ain't coming on. My man Rico was on. I'm going to do that drop for you. You got to tell me what you want me to do, Rico. Let's see. But listen, so there's a lot of things that's still being Okay, here we got Irvin. Oh God, this is going to be a thriller. What is it, Irvin?
I'm trying to turn this around, dude. I don't know how to do this.
Flip the thing at the bottom on in the front, like a little circle.
Irv, you got one of those red cups?
Oh, there you go. Why you got your
You got
glasses?
the red cup?
See,
What's up, everybody? It's your boy VANSILK. How you doing, Pete?
go ahead, man.
What's up, fellas? How you doing? This is long overdue, and I'm honored to be here with Pete Nice. Van, you okay? But Pete is my dude.
You got your microphone?
Yeah, it's over there.
Why you got my glasses on, yo?
Cause I don't know. I'm the vanilla version of you. You know, when they talk about you, that means you're somebody, and you've been somebody.
That's the Brooklyn version of VANSILK.
They hear from this hip hop story. So what's up, babe? What's going on?
Not only that, Irvin has a birthday. Irvin, hold on. Irvin got his birthday coming up on the 23rd, right?
25th
in Brooklyn. And also,
yo, I'm Aquarius too.
Oh, maybe Pete Nice should go over there and celebrate with y'all.
I've been waiting for Pete to come to Brooklyn, man. He's
I know,
stuck
man.
in Boston.
I got to get out there, man. I've been lacking.
But I want to let the people know that Irvin has been a photographer as well in hip hop for many years, and he got a lot of photos.
Well, you know, when they did that Photographiska, that's the one thing that I was missing. Irv's photos included in that. But I mean, I understand Sasha had to pick so many different photographers, but I was glad that Paradise got in there, because even though he worked for the Hip Hop Hit List and all those publications, he really wasn't considered like a professional commercial art. Like, it wasn't like he was shooting album covers for, you know, record companies and stuff like that. But to me, like the candid type photos that you guys took are the best photos, because you capture moments that no professional photographer could ever get. I mean, maybe like Ernie and other guys got it here and there, but like on a regular basis, like you can't get that material other than, you know, being in the spots that you were.
Exactly, and I feel good about that, hearing that from you, Pete, because I did my stuff in the raw.
Right.
Understand? I saw you in the street. I saw you in the club. I didn't have a studio like Ernie or Joe. My studio was in the clubs.
Right.
1018s, Roxy's, Roseland, you name it, I was there. And matter of fact, I'm gonna view my documentary, Van and Pete, on my birthday at the club. It's the world premiere, Mr. Magic World premiere. I'm gonna come out with my documentary, which I did with Red Alert at the Port Authority, which
y'all have a photo exhibit.
Right, yeah.
Tell me about your exhibit that you had at the Port Authority. With, you know, with that,
oh, man. Van and Pete, let me tell you, man, and the people out there, when we found how many people came through, the last recording we got was 2.5 million people that came through.
Listen, I had to catch a bus to Tuscaloosa, and that's when I saw that exhibit.
But you know what, too, guys? I was more honored because they picked the right person, which is Red Alert and myself, because we have history together over 30-something years.
Right.
Right? And one thing I always tell about Red, is one word about him: consistent. Red never changed. Red never changed his ways, his colors, or what have you. Red is Red Alert. What you see, that is Red.
Right.
And let's say, we also got to say, Red Alert now has visited the Universal Hip Hop Museum, Revolutionary Hip Hop. Him and Rocky shook hands, and it's all good in the hood.
Yeah,
it's a plus, and like I told Rocky and Red right there that day, this is good for hip hop, and this is a great way to start 2023.
Right.
You know, because we got that bond. Hip hop is about amending everything too. It's universal. So what Rocky did, it took a big man to do what he did, and that was a big step for both of them. And it was good for hip hop, because here we got two guys just, you know, break bread.
Right. Red Alert is a great man. What else can we say?
Well, I don't know about him being a great man, Pete. He's a good dude.
Well, the Jungle Brothers would disagree with you.
Yeah, Red is my dude. Look, I can make fun of him just the same way I make fun of Van. Red is my dude. You understand? Red is my dude. And Van, by the way, he gave me a new name. I can't call myself Van, so he called me Mr. No Filter. I don't know why they call me No Filter. I'm the nicest guy out here, dude. You know what I mean?
I saw a couple people mention, the death of our boy Dave Trugoy. And if the museum had any material on De La Soul, we definitely do have some great material. I mean, actually, I opened up for De La Soul on my first show with Third Base. They took us on our first European tour, day one. I was in the office when Dante Ross brought them in to get managed by Leor and Russell. So, it's a great loss. I mean, a great loss to Paz and Mace, Prince Paul, all my boys. And, they actually, Faith Newman, who's on the board at the museum, she had been working with them because Reservoir, her company, acquired the whole Tommy Boy catalog. And they were just working. She was on the phone with him last Friday. They were mastering, for the re-release, setting up a big show on, I think, March 13th, and then they were going to go out on the road. They had rented a bus, so it's tragic. I mean, for all that to be put together at this point, I think they were getting a big check. It makes it even worse that, thinking what he's missing out on.
Yeah, it is, and so ironic because 2 days ago before the passing, I had old Dirty Bastard's brother here in my house, going through my archive, and this kid wasn't even born yet when I was shooting in these clubs. So for him to see De La Soul and Big Daddy Kane and all these other acts before his time in the Raw, he appreciated me just opening up my doors to show him, what I have.
Right. Incredible.
And of course, I think we had a shot of Pete Nice and some other guy they call Search in there. He got to really see Third Base.
Hold on. Somebody said, you Red Coat Mr. No Filter. Somebody said, no, MC Shan is Mr. No Filter because, listen.
Shan is a piece of work, but he's in the Raw. Shan is Shan.
And Shan keeps it real, right? You can't say he doesn't keep it real.
So y'all can go and visit MC Shan's YouTube channel. Just go to MC Shan Chronicles. I just added two stuff this morning. I got to keep up with Shan when he can. I got to edit his wording because he just definitely
he's real. And he not even smoking yet when he comes on. So his for shizzle my nizzle, he got everything in there. Even a stripper pole.
He got some nice buses too, right?
Yeah. The buses he makes, the barbershop bus and the boat and everything.
I like what he's doing. The guy's a billionaire, a millionaire now thanks to Snow.
Got that Snow money.
Snow. That's Snow money. But man, this been long overdue. My dude, I just came on and just seen Pete. I'm like, yo, gotta get in there, But Peter's a historian dude himself,
But I definitely got to get to Brooklyn to visit. So that's promise you.
Dude, my doors is open, Pete. Just don't come with that other guy they call Michael, whatever his name is. Then, the same with you. My house, my doors is open.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for my who's Rachel?
That's my wife.
Oh, I'm still waiting for my what's those things?
Hot Wheels. You already stole my biggie.
No, not the food.
Listen, you know that VANSILK collects Hot Wheels like Biz Markie.
Yeah, he grabbed one or two of mine and my famous Biggie doll I have. But now I got a nice Ice Cube doll.
Next is sneakers.
Right.
Oh, man.
Hey, someone was asking if we were going to do a traveling exhibit at the museum, and actually that's something that the museum's working on right now.
Hold on, your wife should get some disrespectful people here. Who you talking about?
Someone was calling me and Irv disrespectable people.
That's his wife.
But that's my wife. Yo, babe, go. My wife is on. Go, babe, go pee and go to bed, please. You're messing up my shine here, babe. You know, we just had Valentine's Day yesterday. Now she picking on me. Man, you know what I'm dealing with, right?
Yes, we remember Dr. Shock. I talked to Dr. Shock not too long ago, 6-7 months ago.
Doesn't Dr. Shock have a Shantae poster in the trunk of his car somewhere?
Yeah, he said he got some things. He got to go in the storage and look for it. Everybody got a storage.
That's a Marley Marl Shantae poster from Connecticut.
Wow. Pete, by the way, I got Roxanne Shantae's first show at Roxy's, age 15, in this club.
That's the photographs.
The photographs.
So that's
with
like 85, right?
Early 80s. Mr. Magic, Red Alert, Mike C, LA Sunshine was in that photo. And that's an epic shot to see this girl, 15, in the club. And she had.
Have you showed it to Shantae?
No.
Well, we should set that up.
Hold on. Let me correct the record.
Mm-hmm.
There is a pop-up, some kind of museum in D.C. We're talking about the Universal Hip Hop Museum, a real museum. It's coming out of my mouth. Okay, a real museum. Okay, back to the channel.
Yeah. So listen, Van, not to cut you off, but yeah, next week is gonna be a big day for me. I'm hitting 6-0, so I'm gonna need to borrow one of your AARP cards. I heard you got about 6 of them. You know, I'm probably gonna be hitting 60, man, and it's an honor just to be here. Because I'm gonna let you know, ever since hitting age 50 with health problems and so on, I've never thought about death seriously like now, man.
Nah, brother.
By the way, people can make a donation to the museum by going on the website uhhm.org, and there's a special section just to click to make contributions and donations.
And I think we got less than 8 minutes left because I think we start at 9:10. I like to say you can definitely.
You know, both of you look like Kojak right now.
Yeah, but I
used to do samples off a little Kojak record, and this looks like the cover of that record.
Yeah, but Van looking good though. He say he's sick. He's sick in the head. He's looking good for his age.
Hey, I want to answer the Kango question. Before Kango got sick with colon cancer, which I had, he got it 2 months before me. I had pictures of Kango's jacket and sword and everything, but evidently after his death, there's some issues within the family of stuff being missing. So we don't know where it's at, unfortunately.
Really?
And I want everybody to understand that this will also be ran on Rap Station 365 next week. That's Chuck's D Station and Hip Hop God's YouTube channel. Because we got about 8 minutes left, I think, before we get cut off. So if anything we want to end out with or say before we go.
Just don't forget Irv's birthday party.
Me and Paradise did speak to Kango, you know, for months before, you know, he passed. And, you know, he had been talking about all the material that he wanted in the museum. And actually, at one point, we were going to do a Cancer Awareness Day. And it, you know, just was, you know, so sad that, you know, he went so quick. But I mean, I think it's important to honor his legacy and UTFO. Yes. I mean, you got educated rapper in him, but we still got Dr. Ice and Mixmaster Ice. So,
Al Mecca, I'll do that interview for you. Just give me some time.
Right.
And somebody asked about Dust to Dust, Pete.
Well, that was a good album, and there will not be a part 2, though. I think I saw that request. Only if I do that with VANSILK. If VANSILK can get on the SP1200.
You know what?
Maybe I get Islam to come in with SP12, and you would do like Bass Pipe Part 2. But we could get Melly Mel and do Police Academy Part 3.
Please, Pete, not again. One was enough, Pete. Please.
I think
You
that
got
Mel
Van.
and Van without their shirts
Oh,
on.
hell
Not
no.
again.
We get VANSILK to put a fox, a dead fox around his neck like Islam.
Oh
Dead
man.
animal.
And
These guys rocking dead animals all over their body with Scorpio.
yeah, Van was one of them. Rabbit tails, leather pants, Adidas sneakers, all kind of stuff. Looking like a rock star.
Because you had the picture.
Damn real at Roseland.
Exactly.
Actually, he looked like a civil rights lawyer and just
Yo,
messed up.
by the way, someone's saying that they want to donate something from Cisco Kid, and we can talk about the contribution to Cisco Kid. Amazing. One of the greatest artists,
What?
as well as a musician and a dancer.
Because I have an interview with Cisco from 32 years ago.
Right.
I have a cassette tape interview with him for a whole hour. If you go on my Instagram page, _VANSILK, it's pinned there. Him, Tila Rock, and somebody else I had up there. You can hear like 30 seconds of the interview with Cisco, but I'm not going to put it out yet because I don't know what people want, how we're going to do these interviews. That's 32 years old that nobody never heard.
Wow.
Some of the best interviews I ever heard are those, and also like FaZe did this documentary that never came out. So there was these interviews with FaZe and Cisco talking about the early days of Up Rockin', the earliest dance moves at their house parties and Plaza Tunnel and all these other spots. I mean, everybody should hear that.
Wow.
Yes.
So, Pete, at what point did you get to be from rapper to historian to collector? That I was meaning to ask you for a while now.
I wouldn't even say a historian because just like a fan, like interested in preserving the history. Like, I think I was always into, the first time I ever met Kool Herc was at VANSILK's Rap Mania.
Wow.
And I really didn't know the full story about Herc or the early days at that point. Even in 1990, a lot of rappers who were coming up didn't know that if you didn't come from the Bronx. So through that Rap Mania, I got to meet him and then got interested in learning the history. And, you know, since then I've linked up with Herc's brother, and he reminded me that I met him that night with Doom. He had Polaroids of us. And, you know, he reminded me that, yo, you shouted out my brother on stage. I went back to the tape, and it's like, yo, I shout out Herc and all the pioneers. So but that was important to do, plus me, a white kid coming up, you know, in hip-hop. You know, I mean, just having the opportunity to be involved in the music and in the whole culture. So, I mean, it's just trying to give back something, you know, to hip-hop that gave a lot to me as well.
And when they were talking about Richard Cisco, here's the actual cassette. This cassette is 32 years old. Richard Cisco interviews on this cassette. Like, these are cassette here. Ecstasy from Houdini is on here, who's no longer here.
Wow.
Right. I mean, the thing is, so many people we've lost, like in the past couple of years.
He was on here. Like, these tapes was done in 1991. Yep. So
that's great.
Get you a note.
You're going to have to donate the audio to the Universal Hip Hop Museum, man.
I'm going to donate it. Yo.
Yeah, I know what that means. But Pete, when I met you again, dude, I told you one thing. Yeah, you were a white dude, but I always considered you the white Rakim. Because you were so smooth.
I'm definitely not deserving of that, but
Pete, you were so smooth and just swift back in the days, you know. I had to let you know, dude, you were so cool. You was the white Rakim to me.
Well, thank you. Preacher Earl's in the house.
My man, Preacher Earl.
Yes.
What up, Earl?
Now, I know we're going to get cut off. So I wanted to say to everybody that this will be up tomorrow on Instagram and YouTube, and then on Hip Hop Guards, and then next week on Rap Station 365. I like to thank Pete Nice for coming in.
I'd like to thank Irv because, you know, all that Irv has done, those great images.
And Irv.
All those parties he throws now for himself for his birthday.
Yeah.
I can't believe you made 60, Earl.
You and I both. And I'm honored just to hit the VANSILK's age and look this good.
Well, when you get 60, when you hit my age of 65, brother, then you good.
Are you gonna? Don't you have like Cool Herc's like sneakers or his gloves?
Actually, I got Cool Herc's pool glove when I beat his ass.
Yes, the pool glove.
I got his glove because after I beat him, he took that glove off and handed it to me.
Right.
That's
So was that like the Twilight Zone one with Jonathan Winters and Jack Klugman?
Not at all. So that one was at M15. Herc thought he was the man on the pool table.
Wow.
And you took him out.
I took him. I cleaned the table with him 3 times in front of his manager.
So
and from there on, we became tight.
Let me ask you a question. These 2019 Rappermania SOBs.
SOBs.
I got a whole box of these. And I have a ticket. What should I do with these?
Well, you could donate one of them to the museum.
Okay.
You get a tax write-off.
Yes. but in 2029 or 2039, they be 30 years old.
Shows we're all getting old.
Yes. Well, I like to say thank you, brothers, because I don't want this to get shut off at the end for coming on. Pete, I'm going to call you soon to hang up. And Irvin, I'm supposed to be coming up to New York. I don't know when. Probably going to be March now.
Okay.
You know how it is.
Well,
I like to
see that.
The last time Van was in New York, well, wasn't that the time we took the walk through the Bronx and tried to find the original Black Door?
No. Remember, I've been to New York 3 times after when K-Slay passed, and then I came back up for Chucky.
No, after K-Slay passed, you were in. That's when we went on that walk. I went by AJ's Morehouse.
I came up in July to do the park out in Queens. That was the last time.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the September hurricane
Yo,
came.
shout out to Chucky Chuck.
Yeah, Chucky Chuck.
Chucky Chuck. He owe me $5.
Chuck,
hell with him.
Chuck, we're gonna meet you over in Harlem at the restaurant on 128th and Frederick Douglass.
No, but yeah, he had me and Pete sitting at the restaurant, but then we did me and him and Artie Swiss and Sedan. We all ended up eating with Chuck.
Yo, peace to Skylar Rock Jr., who I think is on here as well.
Word, I've seen him in a minute.
Pete, I got one of these
great work
for you
with this basketball team.
We're gonna
Whose
smoke
cigar
these
is that?
together. It's a cigar.
Whose cigar? Is that a game used cigar?
It's a
is
cigar.
That Rakim cigar from the Follow the Leader video?
Big Daddy Kane cigar at the old gangster party.
Okay, is that you got Hawk's cigar as well?
Not really. It's bootlegged, but I got it for you.
So
I thought about it.
So that stuff is in your house, Irvin?
Yeah, in my cabinet.
You donate that.
Okay. Which one?
Man, I ain't letting you in my house no more, dude. You going in the basement? Wrong with you?
That's what Van said. Not in my house.
Pete, he be coming in and looking around, talking about he looking for oxtail. Not in my cabinet. What the hell?
That's what it was. Oxtails. Oxtails.
I got you on the oxtail when you come by. I got you.
Oxtail. That's what it was.
There you go.
I want some oxtails when I come over, so.
You're more than welcome, Pete. I'll take you in the hood. Cool. Just don't bring that dude you call Michael Barron with you. That's all.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. Anyway, it's a pleasure, guys. It's past my bedtime. Van, you know about this. We take our naps in early.
Yeah, I normally we sleep at 8 o'clock.
Pete, my regards to your family, your son.
And to your family as well, Irv.
Always.
And we'll hook up soon.
Please. It's definitely needed.
Okay, everybody. Go to my YouTube channel, Not in My House with VANSILK. Check it out. Sparky D, Hip Hop Hallelujah. MC Shan, Hip Hop Chronicles. And maybe we'll get Pete Nice to start doing interviews one day. We're going to have the house. We're going to have a Pete Nice joint.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know about that. All that.
Why not?
I'm just sticking on the down low here.
I hear you. But guys, it's been a pleasure always.
I know where Pete's going when he leaves.
I might go smoke a cigar.
I know where
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I cut back. I cut back on the cigars though, so
there you go.
Gotta stay healthy.
Yep.
Okay, brothers. Peace out.
All right, man. Peace.
And they say,
take care.
Why are we wearing shades? Because it's bright in here. Peace.
Hold up. That's why. Take it easy, fellas. Love you, man.
Love you.